listen carefully is that the council will recruit and appoint CHRM board competitively. That is new. The institution in Nairobi of the relationship of IHRM and CHRM habitually is very clear, especially after our past council meeting. Members of IHRM, the IHRM Act requires that the council form various committees for its efficient operations. And to fulfill this mandate, all committees of IHRM, HRM, and CHRM will be, as well said, will be treated competitively and they will be populated with experts in their areas of specialization. The council will address from SRC will define the standard seeking analysis for these committees. The Secretariat will also be trained on how to professional their services to assist in these committees. On welfare, just like lawyers, doctors, and accountants, the council will strengthen its existing benefit fund for the benefit of the members. The IHRM traditional community has tried to champion the establishment of the HR Africa Confederation. And to this end, I think the ED has already started and is making good significant strides towards the condition of basic confederation. And through their means and the digital efforts, let us make Kenya lead this confederation at least in the past few years. In this speech, it is written that if I pronounce that, people will laugh. So I was going to post. I'll post, but I don't hear anything. Okay. We shall establish 100% online membership provision to members. We will set time for members traveling for this for their services to the Secretariat. We will open physical and functional offices. And remember, we are not offices because now I'm in office as chairperson. These are things that we are going to do, and I'm going to put them on our past council meeting. So that there's offices in the country fully functional for the purposes of promoting the service delivery. The Institute will also promote use of mediation and alternative dispute resolutions as a means of solving disputes between IHRM and stakeholders. I will propose to the Council to acquire a bigger and better space for the Secretariat offices. As I walked around the other day, when visiting the offices of IHRM and the college, that is not the standard expected of academic professionals. We are operating far below our standards. And therefore, this will be on top of the priority list. So, what I'm telling you will happen in the first 100 days. Number one, we shall have an AGM. Number two, we shall address the costs associated with, and of course, the exemption of the CHRP program. We receive a report from the task force that we are going to appoint on members' opinion on the amendments of the HRP Act, and we shall competitively recruit IHRM, HRM PEP, and CHRP committees. We shall also jumpstart the IHRM circle. I know we've been going down around the circle issue, and competitively nominate and appoint the 4 HRM members to the examination board. My position remains that of servitude and not that of master. So remember that. And I will be an agent and not your principal. And I will always be available for your well-being and your professional development by raising the bar of IHRM not only to the regional status, but to international prestige. I want to end there so that we get to the business of the day and hand over the mic to the ED. And once again, thank you very much. I can see your enthusiasm for turning up. These are great numbers, and let us all contribute meaningfully to the amendments of the Employment Act. Asanteni sana, and may God bless you.
Thank you to our National Chairman-elect. Members, we are starting quickly. Allow me, because protocol takes times that I need to acknowledge the presence of our former National Vice Chairperson. He just came in, but he's also the Council representative for Rift Valley region, and he's also a member elect. And he just came in, so I am sure you would love that he says hi. Not so? He came all the way from Rift Valley, Kitale actually. So please, National Vice Chair, you can say a word.
Thank you very much, Madam Edie. National Chairman, fellow Council members present, fellow professionals, good evening. I also don't have much to say, but first and foremost, my apologies. While I was in Nairobi, I went to the Secretariat office for some business, and I was informed of this meeting, and I said I will attend. But because I'm not used to the jam in Nairobi, I thought this was Kitale where I can 2 minutes I'm in the venue. So my apologies, fellow professionals. I don't have much to say because I know the agenda for this evening has to be met. But I want to thank the national chairman and congratulate him for being elected. And also congratulate myself for coming back after very grueling election members. We only have one promise as a council to deliver. I don't think we have many options. Members are expectant, and we have to deliver in a professional way. Count on my support as a person and also as a council member and as an individual member of Nigeria. Thank you so much. My name is Stephen Malakwen, council member representing Rift Valley, and I stay here to be vice chair. Thank you so much, and may God bless you.
I am informed that we have CPA Tony somewhere. You can raise your hand and wave. I do not know where he's seated, but it's right there. It was member-elect. He's over there where the CPA Tony. Raise your hand so we can see. Please give him a clap. He's around in the movement this way. Allow me to hand over this program. We'll get to the business of the night. Thank you very much, members, for your patience to allow us go through this protocol business. Thank you so much.
So we're fairly open time. Just a little bit of housekeeping. We have a few seats that are available here. So kindly find your way behind the screen. You've got 2, 3, 4 seats there. And if you have a seat extra, please, when you see someone struggling, let's get them seated so that we can start talking in a nice note. So, to what has brought us here? So, today's topic is on 2007 Employment Act, proposed amendments, issues and challenges. I would really want to see a lot of participation on this. In most forums, when it comes to questions, people tend to hesitate. This is one part you do not want to hesitate, especially when you have an opportunity to talk to a lawyer. So, our speaker, the name is Elizabeth Koki. She's the managing partner, employment lawyer. She is a member, so she also understands what it takes to be a HR and what we have to be governed by the rules. So I would like us to kindly welcome her with a very warm up. Please prepare those questions and let's be very attentive. And for information, her document has been going around, so at least we must give it to her. She's taken time to look at it, review, simplify for us, all those in WhatsApp groups. She's the one who did that document, so make a point of interacting with her.
Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, members.
Good evening.
I get the chance to talk to you after working hours. Some of us are tempted to doze off. Let me come down here so that I can see all of us. So as we prepare the projector, right? How many of us have read the document that I shared? it has gone round. Let context to this amendment bill. As it is not, of course, law. We are at the consultation stage. And I want to thank IHRM leadership because we cannot allow this document to be passed without our input, isn't it? We are the owners of this bill. This is our mother document, isn't it, Carol? This is our mother document. Now, unfortunately, I know most of you, so I'll probably just call on you to just contribute to it. I'll quickly take you through the proposed amendments because I have about an hour to do it. It's not possible to capture all the changes within an hour. So we'll focus on the key changes that are proposed. Then after that, we can welcome discussions. IHRM and myself will be giving a summary of these changes, proposing them to the Kenyan Law Reform Commission before they come up with a final bill to be tabled before Parliament. Is that good?
Yes.
Yes. So please, we'd like to hear what your comments are. Feel free to, chip in whenever you feel that you need clarification. That's fine. So what you will see in the presentation, anything that is in green is new. It did not exist in the Employment Act 2007. So this is proposed additions to the Act. The red is mostly just expanding on what was already there, but reviewing it, right? So the first thing to note is, first of all, we are introducing piece rate workers into the Employment Act. So now, initially we used to treat piece rate workers as casuals. Now this proposed amendment bill is saying that piece rate workers are not casuals. And it goes on to expound on who is a piece rate worker and how do we engage them. Section 4.3 is talking about the penalties for forced labor. The current act gives a penalty of 500,000. This proposed amendment is moving it up to 1 million and 5 years imprisonment for forced labor. So that is important to note that the penalty has gone up. Section 5 is bringing in an addition. We're talking about a new subsection 2A that is introducing the foreign employees. Specifically saying that for foreigners to be in the country, they have to have the work permit. Now it has become a statutory requirement proposed should this bill be passed. Important also to note is that the expanded scope of discrimination. Discrimination, as we know it in the current Employment Act, has now become broader with new additions. Again, because of time, I will not go into the very specifics, but it's important to note that the scope has changed. Under subsection 6.2, section 6.2, on the sexual harassment policy, that is existent in the current Act. But important to note is that while the current Act talks about this requirement for any employer who has more than 20 staff, this proposal is saying for any employer that has 5 staff and above. And it goes ahead to make it a criminal liability for any employer not to have a sexual harassment policy in place. Now, Section 9 is a new addition. Section 9 talks about non-compete, where we put these clauses in our Employment Act saying that an employee cannot go ahead and work for competition. It is now making it an avoid clause in those employment contracts. So should this bill be passed, any clause in our employment contracts that talks about non-competition becomes void. So you cannot enforce that. Very important to note. Non-disclosure now also has a limitation. So that if an employee has your record, they can release the information within a reasonable time, after a reasonable time. One of the questions I'd like us to discuss this evening is, what is reasonable time? Right? Is 5 years reasonable time? 2 years? What is this reasonable time? Section 15A, this is very, very important because this is the biggest additions we have to the Employment Act. This is the rights of employees in transfer of undertakings. Do we know what a transfer of undertaking is? Who knows? Richard. Richard Gallican knows a lot of this. He's not here? Who knows what transfer of undertakings is? Anybody? Let's engage, remember. As a HR practitioner, you must know what transfer of undertaking is. Because when a business is being bought out in mergers and acquisitions, those are transfer of undertakings. So the question becomes, how do we move employees from one organization to the next? So that then this section, which is very, very detailed, tells us that these employees move with their rights, their liabilities. We do not break employment at any point. So that it is continuous employment. If you are engaged under company A and it was bought out by company B, your rights and entitlements that have accrued in company A should move with you to company B. These are very important to note, and really we should go into the details of that because there's liability as well. Company B then ends up taking all employee liabilities from company A. So as you're advising your organizations, you probably want to understand and explain to them the rights of employees in transfer of undertaking. Section 15B is important to note that when an employee dies, the liability or the obligations do not die, an employer rather. When the employer dies, the rights continue to their representatives. Let me give you an example. If you have a house girl, and God forbid you died, yes, this house girl does not say, oh, Suka Madam Amanda, now all my rights. No. So this employee can actually be one of your successors. Okay, speaking, you see, in the law of succession, you own some money. When they're distributing, the employee will be put in there because you have the accused, right? So the death of an employer does not distinguish the rights of an employee. If you died with somebody's money, by somebody I mean an employee, they can claim from the representatives of the estate of the employer. Very important to this. Now, Section 16 has been amended. Section 16 is replaced, the old one is removed and replaced with a new one. This simply talks about employee documents. So the employment contract, pay slips, and the rest. The current act talks about there being penalty for not providing this. You might want to look at that. Section 14, subsection 9, is also repealed. This was important, and I think this repealing is very important. What it was talking about, the current act says that in section 14, should an employer erroneously pay an employee excess money of over 2 months of their salary, the current act says that the employer cannot recover that money. If those typing errors we do. Should you find you paid more than 2 months' salary, currently, the employer should not be recovering that money. So that is repealed. Because simply says it doesn't make sense. The employer can recover their money in excess. Section 25, subsection 1. If an employer wrongfully withholds an employee's salary, the penalty has moved from 100,000 to 1 million. 1 million. You know the way we like to withhold salary? Yes. We do it as HRs. We are told that this person has a case going on, so we'll not pay the salary. When these employees come to us, we're very excited. Section 27, ABC. Now, this is also quite important to note. The scope of overtime is now very much defined. Where do we find overtime currently? Do we know? Where is overtime? Because it's not in the Employment Act. Where? Anybody? Where is it now? There's no wrong answer. You can just. Where is overtime provided for? Wages. Sorry? Wages order. the subsidiary legislations, the Labor Institutions Act. Now it's being brought into the Employment Act, the main act. And it also is introducing flexi time. This is very important to note. But understand this, just let me explain that a bit. That it is not making it mandatory for the employer to provide flexi hours. It simply is giving the employee an opportunity to request flexi hours. But should an employer decide not to give, this act wants the employer to explain in detail why. Why are you not giving flexi hours? Yes, it is very detailed. You now have to explain. So when we have the millennials who come to us and tell us, I want to work 3 hours a day and I want to work from home, please, if you deny that employee, you're telling them, no, you have shall come, mandatory. You shall explain in detail why you're denying flexi hours. Also important to note night work. And night work is now being brought into the act. It was still under the subsidiary legislation. So night work, the questions we are asking ourselves is, the employer should be saying what hours are night work. First of all, very importantly, the employer has to explain to the employee the safety hazards of working at night. And there is a night allowance. So any employee working night shift has, of course, very different terms. Those are very important to know. Section 29B talks about maternity leave in case of a stillbirth. I know most of us have had this debate over and over again. What happens when this lady is on maternity leave and 1 week into it? No, that's different. Stillbirth is before we start giving birth. So you get the mother, the who. So next, but section 25B, adoptive leave for children below 2 years is 1 month. I would like us to discuss later who is getting this adoptive leave. Because maternity leave is how long? 3 months, the regular maternity. What about paternity? 14 days. So if I am a man and I've adopted, how many days do I get? Because this proposed bill is talking about the adoptive parent. So adoptive parent could be male. So men, is it better we just adopt children and get the 2 months? Because if you have your own child, it's 2 weeks, and if you adopt, it's food for thought. And employers also need to understand what is the implication of this. And it goes into the details of how you're supposed to provide the documents in advance for adoption, all that. Again, section 29B5, surrogate motherhood. What is surrogate motherhood? I'm sure you know. If somebody else is carrying your child for you, 2 months leave, the commissioning parent. This is a very progressive bill, if you ask me. Section 29C talks about compassionate leave. Now we know that compassionate leave was already there in the subsidiary legislation. It has now been put into the main law. Section 31, sick leave is not just for employees who finished 2 months. Very important to note that if I join your organization, 1 week into it, I start earning my leave. In fact, I start from day 1, should this be passed. Section 24A talks about education. Now, this is where most employers will go up in arms. Education leave is 10 days per annum. Yeah, those are cheering. The students are like, yes, this is it. Now, the employer might have a problem with that. Because if your medical department, if your doctors, you're a hospital, they all decide to go for further studies. And they're asking for their 10 days leave. These are some of the issues we need to talk about. Section 35(4)(c) talks about employers to provide employees with written statements. Written statements for reasons for termination. Is this the same as the termination letter?
Is it? No? Written statement? So over and above the termination letter, is that what we are supposed to give now? We'll discuss. Then, of course, this is a new inclusion. Section 35(5)(a) talks about gratuity. Oh my God, employers will go up in arms. Gratuity is now mandatory. Should this be passed? As it is, it's optional, isn't it? We only give the service pay if you're not doing any exercise. Should this bill be passed? It is mandatory. The employees are very happy. Okay. Good to know. Section 35(7). For every retirees, we have to give certificates of retirement. Another addition to this is Section 44 is introducing that the details of summary dismissal, right, goes on to expound. It's expounded in short. Section 45(4)(c) is now bringing in constructive dismissal in the law. It was never defined, wasn't it? It was always we are relying on court precedents and all that. Now constructive dismissal is very much elaborated in the proposed bill, forms part of the Act. Section 47, subsection 6 is removed. This was already declared unconstitutional by the labor courts. This provision is about probationary employees not suing for unfair termination. Already the courts had said that that is wrong, so that this proposed bill is just removing it out of it. Section 48, we are so happy. Section 48 says that advocates can now represent parties even, in the labor office. That's more work for us. We're excited, we are supporting this bill, we will be rooting for it, because that's business for us. Yes. Other than that, then we are introducing investigative suspension. Those are trained before, we have discussed this in detail. So that then it's limiting it to 14 days with full pay. I know most government agencies provide with half pay, pending investigations. Now this is simply to mean that an employee being investigated has to be paid their full pay. This is something we need to discuss. What about where investigations extend beyond the 14 days? And then, of course, this is the most important bit, in my opinion, of this document, the introduction of employee data protection. Employee data protection. So this proposed bill is talking about how we collect this data. I'd really like us to discuss this. How we collect, how we store it, how we distribute it. And then the question becomes, and I was discussing with my team earlier, what happens with background checks? What happens? Because you are not supposed to disclose now this employee details. I was dealing with the HR director the other day, and she was facing disciplinary because a company had called to do a background check, and she refused to give the details. It was an alleged fraudulent activity. So she just simply said,